Ooh, okay. Time to finally talk about Three Kingdoms. First off, the beginning of the Three Kingdoms. We're going to be talking about the characters being introduced, and we're going to be talking about some backstory, I guess, some necessary backstory. Although there's also a whole lot of unnecessary backstory that I'm not going to get into, although I might talk about it a little. Okay, yeah. So here we are. Three Kingdoms Part 1, Han Dynasty's Decline, and Three Heroes, One Peach Garden. Sounds kinky, like two girls, one cup. Um, Here's a nice map of China with all the provinces, or at least provinces at the time of the start of our story. Because our story starts so around 189 CE, like is put here, maybe a little earlier. First off, the Han Dynasty has been ruling China for the last about 400 years. Like, if we want to get technical, there was this little lapse where someone else took control and then he got killed. So there's like this little 20-year gap or something. I can't remember what exactly it was, but there's a gap. Who cares? Just know it's been like 400 years into the Han Dynasty, and everyone loves the Han Dynasty, bro. You know, it's literally the Han people in China, bro. Of course, Han Dynasty's number one. But, not for long. Soon, here we are. It's 189. I think it's 189. It's around 189. And this shit's about to get explode, bro. Okay, we're about to turn this shit into Three Kingdoms, not one dynasty. But why? Why are we gonna turn this shit into Three Kingdoms? The Han Dynasty is so epic, right? Why would we want to get rid of it? Well, you know, the people to really blame might actually be the Han Dynasty themselves. So we're starting it off strong with the previous emperor from what we got right now, Emperor Huan. Emperor Huan, as you can see, there was about 21 years. Well, there was 21 years with this dude, and he did a lot of big things. First, there were political purges. So yeah, first off, this dude decided, I'm gonna take out everyone I don't like, and that didn't lead to anything great happening. Well, a whole lot of great things for him, you know. None of the people he liked were around, but people were kind of just kissing his ass for a bit because they didn't want to get killed or exiled or, you know, whatever happens when you go against this guy. Next up, he was like, well, we need someone to be in charge. And so the palace eunuchs became the new people with a lot of the power. A lot of his power he just kind of gave to the palace eunuchs, and that pissed off more people in government. But you couldn't be too vocal about being pissed because he just purged your ass. Going on. Yeah, so he didn't live very long, which, you know, that could be a blessing. Yeah, him dying young. We put a sad face, but really it's more of a happy face for everyone who knew him. Except for one person who knew him, his son. So his son became the new child emperor in 186 AD. So, or not 186. His son became the new child emperor in 168 AD. So 168 AD, Emperor Ling, the new guy, he's 12 years old. And here he is. I put a picture of Joffrey from Game of Thrones. You're going to see that Joffrey from Game of Thrones is worse than Emperor Ling. You know, there was no torture stuff. Well, there might have been, but it's not touched. He's just kind of a shitty leader, though, this Emperor Ling guy. So him being emperor, I'm going to touch on that next point soon. But yeah, now that he's emperor, who do you think took power? Well, he had some guy, his kind of like new father, like his new guardian, his legal guardian, kind of was taking power. But most of the power was still with those eunuchs. No one was a huge fan of those Paschal eunuchs. They were a little corrupt. A little bit corrupt, those Paschal eunuchs. So anyways, this guy's godfather and a bunch of other politicians, I guess you call them, government officials, they were like, fuck these eunuchs, bro. We're going to kill them. And, you know, it was a perfect plan. You know, there's a nice power vacuum right now. Emperor Huan died. This 12-year-old Emperor Ling, he's going to be chill with it because, I mean, we didn't talk to him, but fuck that guy. He's 12. So they went to kill them. But during one of their meetings, little sneaky, no-penis man was a witness. And let's just say It didn't work out for them. It was an epic eunuch victory. They killed all these dudes conspiring against them. And honestly, after killing them, the eunuchs got a little bit more corrupt. And by a little bit, I mean a fucking lot, bro. Like, they just started purging everyone they didn't fuck with. Like, they were taxing the poor. They were taxing everybody, in fact. Like, famines started happening. Who gives a shit, dude? I'm a cool eunuch, and I'm getting lots of money. Banditry becomes a problem. I don't care. It's not a problem in the capital of Luoyang. So here I am, a chill castle eunuch. Yeah, things weren't exactly great with these guys in charge. And okay, so Emperor Ling is 12 years old, and suddenly some disasters and omens start going down. You know, almost foreshadowing, and definitely a literary device, and did actually happen in real life. But anyways, we're going to continue on. So here we are in the years from where he's 13 until he's quick maths, aka I'm just trying to look at the piece of paper beside me, until he's 22. Okay, so from the age 13 till he's 22, Emperor Ling this is. You're probably wondering what the hell these photos are. Okay, first photo, snake chair lightning. So Emperor Ling, when he's still pretty young, how old is he when this happens? I think this is when he's 13. Yeah, when he's 13 years old, he goes one day, he's going to go on his throne, it's going to be great. I'm just going to sit on my throne. When boom, scary green snake coils up on the throne right in front of him. He sees this, he faints, and everyone in the palace staff is like, oh my god, the emperor fainted, is he going to die? They rush him to the nurses, and then someone someone else sees the snake, and the snake disappears into the air. And immediately upon disappearing in the air, a thunderstorm breaks out over the capital. Damages a bunch of buildings too. This could be a coincidence, though. We never know. Afterward, when he's 15, Luoyang, the capital city where he lives, gets hit by an earthquake, and a tidal wave sweeps a bunch of people away to the sea on the coast. Luoyang, by the way, is not near the coast. It's central China. Don't worry about it right now. It'll be a big deal later. But yeah, this could be an omen as well. We don't know. It could just be a literary device. I don't know. Read on to find out. Next, what the hell is this? Chicken cloud? I'll tell you what it is. So, what this is that, hold on, let me read my notes again. Okay, so Emperor Ling starts getting reports that hens are transforming themselves into roosters. Like, what the hell? Actually, this is one of my favorite ones, because just the thought that hens are getting turned into roosters is so ridiculous sounding. And then the cloud one is in the Chamber of Consorts, which sounds like a crazy chamber, by the way. It's just full of consorts. There's some secondary rainbow that they see. Wait, that's not the cloud. The cloud is that there's a murky cloud in the Great Hall of Benign Virtue, which is where Emperor Ling usually hangs out, being a king. I mean, being an emperor and all that. Also, there's a secondary rainbow in the Chamber of Consorts that gets observed. And part of the Yuan Mountains collapse in an avalanche. Collapse is kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, here's the slide for the rainbow, the secondary rainbow, the collapse. So collapse is kind of an interesting word. I think it's bung in Chinese, and apparently in some way the word bung could also refer to the death of an emperor. There's a literary device. I didn't care what it was, and I'm not going to mention what it was. I'm not going to look it up. So here we are. This all leads you probably to question, with these question marks that I put handily on the screen, and the man thinking over here, you're probably thinking, what does this mean? And the answer for you is, I don't have an answer, but Cai Yong, one of the government officials, he had an answer. Cai Yong went to Emperor Ling, and he was all like, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. Hens are turning into roosters. And a double rainbow was in the Chamber of Consorts. This can only mean one thing. Hens and roosters, eunuchs, bro. They get their penises cut off. They're like roosters turning into hens. Emperor Ling is like looking at him while he says this, and he's nodding along. And then the guy's like, double rainbow and chamber of consorts? It must be. Now hear me out. Women in government. And Emperor Ling, to his credit, he hears this report. He just sighs and leaves. He doesn't give peace of mind to Tsai Yong's theory at all about what the literary the really real disasters and omens could have meant. And yeah, that was kind of funny. Because I think the hens and roosters, whatever. Either way, during this thing where Tsai Yong tells Emperor Ling about this, one of the eunuchs just overhears it. Like, he's, I guess, across the room. Like, and he's like, you're not slick, bro. And so he just gets Tsai Yong framed from a crime, and Tsai Yong gets exiled to another city far away from the capital. We may see him again. There may be a reason I put his name down. Okay, next slide, bro. So, yellow scarf slide. You're probably wondering what's going on with the rainmaker. It'll all be explained. But yellow scarves, okay. The first thing you got to know is that those eunuchs, those Passel eunuchs, these guys knew no bounds. They were corrupt beyond corrupt. We all hate them. All of China hates them, bro. And all of China certainly did hate them. That included all of the poor people. So here we are after those disasters and omens, when nothing was done to get rid of the eunuchs. You know, this is kind of blaming Emperor Ling because he didn't listen to Tsai Yong, but, you know, it was kind of a thing that had been going on for 20 years or more at this point. So here we are. Let's first look at the leader of this Yellow Scarf rebel group, Zhang Jue. So the leader of the Yellow Scarf rebel group, Zhang Jue, at first he starts off, he's just a humble guy. He's studying for his exams. And after studying for his exams real hard to get the best government job there ever was, yeah, he fails that shit. So he decides, instead of all these government exams and stuff, I'm just going to live up in the hills and pick, like, herbs, medical herbs for a living. You know, that sounds pretty chill, right? But then one day, while gathering his herbs and living a nice hill lifestyle, an ancient mystic appears before Zhang Jue. And this man, you know, he has this youthful face, a nice wooden staff, and piercing emerald eyes. Something is fucked up with this guy. And the guy goes up to Zhang Jue, and he's all like, come with me to my secret mountain. So he takes him to the secret mountain, and in the secret little mountain cave, he hands Zhang Jue a book. And he says, this is the essential arts for the millennium. I need you to spread its teachings far and wide as heaven's messenger for the salvation of our age. But think no thoughts of rebellion, Zhang Jue. A retribution will follow. Okay, so think no thoughts of rebellion. Who was he introduced as? The leader of the rebel group? Yeah, he didn't listen to that, bro. Anyways, after giving him the book and giving him a whole lot of responsibility to be like, you know, heaven's messenger, as he said, the mystic just poof, he disappears into a puff of pure breeze and was gone forever. Anyways, after this, Zhang Jue dedicates himself day and night, bro. He applied himself. He learns to summon wind and rain, the rainmaker. Like, I don't know how so he's like a wizard now. He summons wind and rain just at will. Like, he can cast spells, bro. At some point, there's pestilence spreading all throughout the land. Okay, there's these famines throughout China, potentially caused by some corruption going on in the government and high taxes. And, Zhang Jue, he goes on, he's like this kind of cult figure guy. He runs around everywhere, and he gives out trinkets, and he apparently summons wind and rain. We don't know how. Something tells me he might not have been able to do that in real life, but for the sake of the story, he's a wizard. He's summoning wind and rain for their crops and stuff. Everything's great. And he gets a lot of followers. Like, I'm talking, he's going to every province of China. getting a lot of followers everywhere. And at some point, him and his followers start thinking, maybe I'd be better than this whole Emperor Ling guy. And so he tells everyone who's his follower, like, if you hear this word, I want you to write the word new cycle on your gate to your house. And then all across China, the words new cycle were written on house front gates, bro. New cycle was written everywhere for this guy. And it was around this time that Zhang Jue literally changed his name from Zhang Jue to Zhang Jue, the great and worthy teacher. Holy shit, bro. Could you imagine the audacity of this man to change his name to the great and worthy teacher? Like, bro, I just thought that how is he so full of himself, bro? Like, and people really saw him as this too, like he had a lot of followers. Like, the whole nation knew this guy. He was a celebrity, bro. He was the great and worthy teacher, bro. So Zhang Jue, the great and worthy teacher. Yeah, the next thing, it says bribes. So he started gathering kind of a force to make a rebellion. And he started bribing one of the Passel eunuchs in order to, get kind of, good with the government before trying to do this whole rebellion thing. And he sent a messenger to give them bribes. It was all going good. And by them, I mean he bribed one palace eunuch. He did not bribe all of them. So he had one inside man. Then he's discovered because he sent a second messenger to this Passel eunuch. The Passel eunuch, by the way, was Feng Xu. And the second messenger he sends to tell them, oh, we're going to do the uprising on this date, bro. Get ready for it. This second messenger just goes straight to Emperor Ling and is like, Emperor Ling, there's that great and worthy teacher guy. Yeah, he's getting everyone to start a rebellion against you. And Emperor Ling shits himself when he hears this, but we're going to talk about that in the next slide. When he finds out that he's been snitched on, he's like, well, I guess we got to do the rebellion now because the word is out. And okay, now I just want to talk about the name Yellow Scarves for a minute. So that's the name of this rebel group that Zhang Jue has made. So Yellow Scarves in Chinese is Huangjin, this word on the left here. And Emperor in Chinese is Huangdi. So what's cool about the name of the Yellow Scarf rebel group is, well, first off, you can see here look. So yellow cloth, Emperor. Both of the first characters of these are pronounced identically. They're both Huang. I may have mispronounced that with the tone, but please bear with me. And then the second part, Jin, which means cloth, is inside the character for D in the word Emperor. Like you can see, it's at the bottom there. So it's actually a phonetic and a visual pun, which I think is actually really cool that they did this. And in a way, when you say that you're Huangjin, when you say you're a yellow scarf, you're almost putting yourself on the same level in a way as being an emperor. Like you're a false kind of emperor. I think it's really cool, and I just want to mention it because when I just said they're the Yellow Scarf Rebels, like, that doesn't translate as being a cool name at all. But in Chinese, they had a cool-ass name, bro. I just wanted you to know that because I know that, and I thought it was cool. So now we have Emperor Ling's side of this. He just had a man come up to him who was like... there's a giant rebellion coming, and he pooped his fucking pants, bro. He immediately, so yeah, this is in Luoyang. He immediately goes to Huijin. Huijin is what he's the regent marshal, so he's pretty high in the government. He's like maybe one of the right hand men who's not one of the eunuchs, and he's like, Huijin, they're gonna rebel and kill us all. Please help, bro. Please help. Huijin is a man of action, though. You know, he immediately goes and starts helping. So first, He kills the guy who was bribing Feng Shu, the Pasul eunuch, who was working on behalf of the Yellow Scarves. And he imprisons the Pasul eunuch because, killing that guy might be bad publicity. Oh, by the way, Emperor Ling at this point is 33 years old. He is an adult. So after this, I've written Hui Jin's appeal. He appeals to Emperor Ling. He says, Emperor Ling, I need you to send word out, bro, because you're the emperor, that we need people in every county, in every province, any man who's willing to fight, we need them to fight, because there's a lot of rebels everywhere. They've got their heads bound in yellow scarves, and they're gonna kill us. So we need as many people. Pretty much, he's telling them, any able-bodied man willing to fight for the Han Dynasty, please, please, please fight for us, bro. Please kill these rebels. Then Hui Jin assigns 3 generals. Each one of them gets their own elite field army, okay? So these 3 generals know that they are in charge of the elite field armies. We have Lu Zhi, Huang Fusong, and Zhu Jun. And these guys, we haven't gone into it yet, but they're going to be the 3 generals in charge of each army. There's 3 different armies, 3 different generals. So now we go to this place up in northern China called Youzhou. And what's going on in Youzhou? The exact same shit. People be panicking. Youzhou's governor, Liu Yan, which, by the way, Liu is the royal surname, okay? Emperor Ling had it. Every emperor in the Han Dynasty, their surname is Liu. Liu Yan is related to royalty, but there's lots of people related to royalty, you'll find out. He goes to Commandant Zhou Jing in Youzhou, and he says, bro, they are coming for us. These yellow scarves are going to fucking kill us. And Zhou Jing, he's like, there's really only one way we can stop them. We need to ask for recruits in the army. All over Youzhou, there's posters put up. One of these posters finds itself in a small county known as Zhuo County, which has maybe our main character. A man is looking at the poster, and his name is Liu Bei. Liu, as you learned last time, is the royal surname. So this guy is related to royalty. Once again, Liu Bei styled Xuenda. So styled, we're gonna break that down right now. Styled, when I say styled, is like a second name that they would use. So when you became 20 years old, you got to choose what you're styled as. So when I say he is styled Xuenda, that is a name he chose when he became an adult, and everyone should be calling him, like in real life, they will be calling him Liu Xuenda rather than Liu Bei. Liu Bei would be the name that like his mother would call him, or someone like that, or like his wife would call him. But most people would call him Liu Xuenda. So I may call him Xuenda as well at some points. Xuenda, by the way, just means Xuen. So Xuen, that first character, that means red mixed with black, and De means virtue. So red mixed with black, virtue. Red mixed with black is kind of saying like, so the color of the Han people is red, and then black just means like it's deepened. So a deepened Han virtue is all his name translates as meaning. This guy's 6'3", bro. He is reading this recruitment letter, this like recruitment poster, and he is towering over every other Chinese man in ancient China, bro. 6'3", bro. I'm not even 6'3", and I live like 2,000 years later when people be tall. Like 6'3", this guy is a monster, bro. He's super tall, and he's also a monster in other ways. Let me just turn the page of my notes here. This guy, this guy looks like a monster, bro. So he has big ears, and when I say big, I mean big. He's got ears so big. So let me look at the page here, the description of these ears. He stood 6'3", with arms that reached below his knees. His earlobes were elongated, his eyes widely set, and able to see his own ears. His face was flawless as jade, and his lips like dabs of rouge. So yes, this guy has knees going down, or this guy has arms going down to his knees. His earlobes are so elongated and his eyes so widely set apart that he can see his own ears. And yet they still say his face is flawless as jade. This guy is an alien, okay? Liu Bei style Chuenda is an alien. He is not normal. And he may be our main character. This is where Jewel County is. He was growing up in a poor family. Despite the royal surname, his father died when he was really young, and it left only his mother to raise him, which then it calls him an orphan for having no father, even though he did have his mom raising him. I wrote orphan, but it's a weird word to use. They had to grow up really poor. They made a living by selling sandals and mats. Like, they were, well, selling sandals and mats. They were weaving the mats and making the sandals and selling them in order to make ends meet. And of course, because he's main character, there were all these people, like, it has flashbacks to when he's like a kid, and like people are having prophecies of like, you're not going to be no ordinary man, Liu Bei. I can tell just by the way you talk, because even as a kid, he's talking about wanting to be like the big guy and, you know, ruling the kingdom or whatever. Ruling the king. I don't know if that'll happen, bro. That might be spoilers. That might be huge spoilers. We don't know if that happens. You know, and when he was 15 years old, his mom sent him away. It's time to study, Liu Bei. Now, here's a few names of people he studied with or under. First, we have Zheng Xuan. This guy was an annotator of classic literature. So all this is saying is that he studied under a pretty smart guy. But as we'll find out later, and is said in the description earlier, and I missed it, Liu Bei is no scholar, okay? He's a pretty big, strong guy, but he's no scholar. Another one of his teachers, while he was going to school, was Lu Zhi, which was on the previous slide, I believe. Lu Zhi is one of the generals at the head of one of the elite field armies currently defending the capital. So, yeah. This is a recurring name. And then final name is a new name, Gongsun Zan. Gongsun Zan was just a friend of Liu Bei while he was in school. And I want to mention him as being Liu Bei's friend before we see him later. He's 28 years old at the present while he's reading this sign. And while he's reading this sign, he gives a heavy sigh. You see, Liu Bei, all of Liu Bei's ambition is to meet heroic men and better himself, you know. So as he's reading this sign, he thinks to himself, man, how am I alone going to stop this whole rebellion, even though I'm a 6'3" Giga Chad? He gives out a long sigh, a long, heavy sigh. And then behind him, he hears a voice. Why such long sighs? Said a man behind him. And above him, too. Above? Wasn't Liu Bei tall as fuck? Why is this guy above him? Behold, it's Zhang styled Ida. Ida, meaning is wings assisting virtue. Liu Bei, Xuenda, had a virtue. Anyways, that's just his name. Zhang Fei has a thunderous voice and is behind him. Why such long sighs? A real man should be serving his emperor in the hour of peril. I'm sorry if my fucking voice is not nice sounding. Yeah, this guy is 6'8". He is not normal, bro. Let me give you the description of what he is. Xuenda turned and saw a man 6'8" with a blunt head like a panther, huge round eyes, a swallow's heavy jowls, a tiger's whiskers, a thunderous voice, and a stance like a dashing horse. Half in fear, half in admiration, Xuenda asked his name. I am Zhang Fei, styled Ida. I live here farming and selling wine and slaughtering pigs. I seek to befriend men of bold spirit, and so I addressed you when I saw you sighing. So this is what Zhang Fei is all about. And at some point, so he tells him about being a farmer, and he finds out that Liu Bei is related to the imperial royal family, and he's like, damn, I didn't know you had swag like that. And then Liu Bei tells him about how he was planning to put down the rebellion, but he was sighing about his inability to do so. And Zhang Fei hears this, and he says, why don't we just work together then? And then the two of them are super happy. They're elated to work together. And so, once they decide, let's work together, they then head to a bar. So they're drinking at the bar, drinking at the tavern, whatever you want to call it. And then the strongest, most Giga Chad motherfucker they've ever seen in their life enters the bar carrying a wheelbarrow. The man says, some wine, and I'm quickly off to volunteer to the city to fight this army. Xuenda sees this man. Yeah, let me just click through. Xuenda sees this man. He sees 7'6", 2 foot long beard with rich, ruddy cheeks, glistening lips, eyes sweeping sharply back like those of the crimson-faced phoenix, brows like nesting silkworms. This man is Guan Yu, styled Unchong, previously styled Changsheng, but there was some shit that went down with some Taoist religion, and I don't care. Anyways, just know that his name translates to meaning permanent or fleeting as a cloud, so you know how a cloud can be not permanent for very long. And his previous name means prolonged life. So they kind of contradict each other in an interesting way for the name meanings. Who cares? What I really care about is he's fucking 7'6", bro. This guy's enormous. And he not only is he 7'6", he is like super ripped, okay? It literally says, when you read the book, it says, his statue was imposing, his bearing awesome. When Liu Bei sees him, he immediately invites him to their table to drink with him and starts talking to him. Purely because of how alpha this guy looks, bro. So they start talking with this guy. And I wanted to point out something here. Red face. What do I mean by that? So red face probably just meant, in real life he probably just had ruddy cheeks. But it gets kind of like upped some. There's this whole backstory he has. So he's on the run. And the backstory is that he killed a corrupt magistrate where he lived previously. And he's been on the run for like 5 or 6 years because of killing that corrupt official. And while he's on the run, he meets a sorceress at a temple, like a Taoist temple, and the sorceress puts spring water and on his face to wash his face, and by washing his face in this magic spring water, it turns his face red so he can't be identified by the people he's on the run from. That's all bullshit probably, but I just like the idea that his face is actually just completely like red and not like not just like he's blushing, but it is like completely red. That's such a silly imagining, like that's such a silly face in my mind to imagine him having that face. Okay, let me see where else there is. Oh yeah, by the way, that backstory was him killing a corrupt official, and now he wants to sign up to fight the rebellion. I'll have you know, these rebels also want to kill corrupt officials. Like, all of the government is corrupt. But, maybe he doesn't see it that way no more after 5 years on the run. Anyways, talking to Guan Yu, Liu Bei and Zhang Fei are happy to hear that this guy is also down for the cause. And Zhang Fei invites the three of them to his very beautiful peach garden where all the flowers are in full bloom. Team up, happy face. Here they are in the peach garden. This is some art of them. Guan Yu is the one on the right in the green. Liu Bei is the one with the red in the middle. And Zhang Fei is the one on the left with the gold plates. Obviously, this doesn't have their heights accounted for at the lore accurate, like, WWE Giga Chad mega heights. Okay, so in the Peach Garden, they take their vows. What are these vows? Well, they swear each other to be brothers forever, until death do them part, I guess. They bring a black bull and a white horse, the black bull to sacrifice to the earth, and the white horse to sacrifice to the heavens. And they take this oath, let me read. We three, though of separate ancestry, join in brotherhood here, combining strength and purpose to relieve the present crisis. We will perform our duty to the Emperor and protect the common folk of the land. We dare not hope to be together always, but hereby vow to die the same self-day. Let shining heaven above and fruitful land below bear witness to our resolve. May heaven and man scourge whoever so fails this vow. And from that moment forward, Xuenda Liu Bei became the eldest brother, Guan Yu became the second, and Zhang Fei the youngest brother. The three of them would be brothers, oath brothers, for the rest of their lives. They then hosted a feast for the recruits, and during this time, two wealthy traders from out of town walk in. They're all like, man, we can't go north because of these damn yellow scarves. Liu Bei tells them, that's exactly the guys we were planning to nay on. And the two wealthy traders are like, you're pretty chill. They give Liu Bei, or they give the Oath Brothers and their followers, because they've recruited about, I don't know, how many men have they recruited? They got like 500 men following them from the town. They got 500 local youth recruited. They give them like 503 horses, I guess. And they give a bunch of metal to make weapons. So Xuenda, because these three are the main characters, Xuenda then goes to a forge, and he gets the smith to make them like the coolest shit ever. Xuenda himself, Liu Bei, has dual-edged matching swords, so he's got double swords. He's like, imagine Levi from Attack on Titan, bro, except they're double-edged, because I think Attack on Titan swords have one hit. Anyways, he's got matching swords, okay? And in the picture you see here, Guan Yu gets the Green Dragon Crescent Mood Blade. He just got a legendary unlock item, bro. This is something you should have had to grind to level 100 for to have. But he's got it at level 1. And as you can see, it looks pretty fucking cool. I think in real life, the handle, like the green part, it probably wasn't green or nothing. It probably didn't have like this dragon hilt, you know. But it was a big blade on a stick like that. And I think it had some rings. But anyways, you should just imagine it to be cool. You know, we're reading the romanticized version of this telling of events. This is not about realism here. Like, obviously, this guy wasn't 7'6" in real life, but just imagine he is, because that's cool as hell. And Zhang Fei gets the serpent-headed spear. You can see it here in the photo on the right. It's like, I mean, it looks very impractical, but it's a 15-foot-long spear. And it's just a steel spear. They also all get armor from this. I mean, after this, it's time to enlist, baby. Like, there's nothing left to do except for enlist. Surely. What else would you do? And I was debating, should I end it here? Okay, I'm ending it there. Thank you for listening. I will try to make another video, because obviously they've just enlisted to go into fight, and maybe things get cool when they fight. I don't know. I mean, some of the fighting in this book is actually not the cool part, but the fun parts are all the fun little things in between. But next chapter, or well, we didn't finish chapter 1 yet, but next time I'll talk about them going to fight, because that's the next thing that happens. And we'll meet Cao Cao, which is probably a name you know if you know anything about the Three Kingdoms. Yeah. What else will happen next time? Oh my god, we'll also meet Dong Zhuo, which you also know if you know the Three Kingdoms. And Dong Zhuo is just a piece of shit. Anyways, we're gonna meet them next time. But yeah. Thank you for listening if you listened. I was nervous recording this, and I wasn't sure exactly what to do, because I have not recorded any videos before. If the audio is ass, then please let me know. Okay, bye!